Okay, I cut out my pieces. I have my back pieces. There's 2 of them. And I make sure I cut around all my darts so that they exist there beyond the paper. So when I remove the paper, you can see that it's still there. So I did my B's, I did my C's, keep them pinned until we're ready to use them. So the first thing we're going to do is work on the pocket. So you want to unpin your pattern. It says cut 2, 6 by 6, which is what we did. This is 6 by 6. We're going to do a 5/8 inch seam allowance, which will make a 5 by 5 pocket, which should fit your phone. So you want to leave a hole in the bottom. So you take these right sides together and pin them, and you want to leave the hole in the bottom. So depending on the direction of your fabric, make sure you're leaving it in the bottom. I can pin this. I'm going to put this in the machine, and I'm going to sew 5/8 from here, back stitching, pivoting at the corner, 5/8 all the way around, and then stop here and back stitch. I'm going to go do that now. Okay, so I did my 5/8 around, trim my threads, remove my pins, and clip my corners. So after I clip my corners, then I'm going to turn it right side out. And then iron it, get it nice and flat, and then move to the next step. So turn it right side out. Push up those corners really well. Remember to tuck this in. I'll take this to the iron, and I'm going to press this, making sure I press that closed nicely as well. Okay, we got your pocket sewed together, turns inside out. I got a hole in the bottom. All right, so now I'm going to attach it to one of my B pieces. So you look for the back because the pocket is going to be on the back side of the shorts. And you look for these placement lines. So I did a medium. As you notice, this is my size. So you find your size and then you find the pocket placement line. So here's the pocket placement line. Right here, pocket placement, small, medium. The bottom of the pocket will go on that line. And you're going to pin it to one piece of the fabric. So that's what I'm going to do now. So pull out all your pins. So I just need the one piece, the top piece. So separate these. And this one I'm just going to put aside and just lay the one piece down. And remember, get my pocket, put the hole on the bottom. It's a medium. Place it on the medium line like that. And I just slowly pull that out. I know it's hard to see. It's supposed to be. It's the same fabric, but it's there. And then I'm going to pin it to it. And I'm going to sew around. So this is the top of my pocket. So I'm going to start up here and I'm going to sew 2/8 or 3/8, but pretty close to the edge, not 5/8. So pretty close to the edge, 2 or 3/8 from the one side all the way down. We'll close the hole and come back up. And then obviously not sewing in here so that I can put my hand in there. So I'm going to do that at the machine now. Okay, here we go. So my bees are already unpinned, but I put them back together again. So here's the one, this has got my pocket on it. So B, right here, and then lay my pattern on top. And then C, my 2 C's right here, and then my pattern's on top. All right, so what we're gonna do now is, remember, this is the B stack, this is the C stack. So B to the left, C to the right. All right, so here's what we're gonna do with those. We're gonna match a B and a C together. So I take the top one off of my B. So here's my B, and here's my C, and I'm gonna switch. I'll put my C with my B, and my B with my C. So now I have one B with one C, and one C with one B. So as you look at it, first thing you're going to notice probably is that these are different sizes. That's on purpose. The B is larger than the C. The B is the back, the C is the front of the shorts. So what we're doing is we're making legs right now. On most human beings, the back side is larger than the front side. Therefore, our B pieces are larger. So B and C, put those together. And then B and C again, right here. You see? So B is on the top here, and C is on the bottom, and that's what it should look like. Okay, once you have those two, now we're going to take each leg and put them right sides together. So right side, together. So right sides together. As you do this, what you're going to do in order to get it together and correctly, you'll see your double diamonds should match. So double diamond there should match that seam. So once you have that, lay it there. Okay, that one's done. That's one leg. Go to the other leg. So right side, we need to flip them, right side, together. Some threads here from our pocket. So right sides together, and again, double diamonds should match perfectly. Just to remind you that you cut it out, correct the right pieces. Okay, so there. It's a little difficult working with this flannel, so you just got to keep smoothing it because it kind of sticks. Do the best you can to match it up. Okay, so now we have B and C, and we have them right sides together. Next, this is going to be our seam line, but we're going to pin the outside of the seam. So therefore, get my pins. So I'm going to pin the seam, and we're going to sew it 5/8. So put a few pins in here. Move that over tad. Okay. Okay, so I pinned this seam on that one. I'm going to do the same on this side. To save time, I'm just going to move on. You're going to pin both legs on the outside. And then the other seam you're going to do is this one. Again, your diamonds, you had single diamonds. They were number 2 on your pattern, if you remember. It was this diamond. So you're going to take that one, and you're going to match it to the other one. So matching 2 diamond and pin it as well. Now you're going to notice that this piece on top is small and this is kind of gappy in the back. But remember I told you the back should be more because your back side is bigger than your front side, at least most human beings are. Okay, so just to review, so you're pinning this side and then you're pinning this seam right here. And then you're going to take it to the machine and sew 5/8 down here and sew 5/8 down here. And you're going to do the same on this piece. So I matched my double diamonds over here. And then I come over here and I take my single diamond, and I match them together like so. And I pin those. So that when I go into the machine, don't worry about this. Don't worry about that gap. I know it freaks you out, but don't worry about it. Trust me, it'll work out. Because all you're sewing is 5/8 from here to here. And so 5/8 from here to here, back stitching at the beginning and end of your seam. So 4 seams, 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so just remember what we did. We matched the diamonds. It was number 2, and there's my 5/8. And then over here, my double diamonds, which was number 1, and my 5/8. So I did that on both legs. Did it up and did it up. All right, now take one of the legs. It doesn't matter which one. Take one of them and turn it right side out, like so. And then you have the one inside out. So what you're going to do is right sides together. So taking this one, I'm going to put it inside this one, and I'm going to make them right sides together. When I do that, I'm going to match my notches. So you're looking for notch number 4. It's a double notch here, number 4, with double notch number 4, and I'm getting them together. So here we go. So you take this one inside this one, sliding it in, and what I'm looking for is my single diamond number 3 right there, and my double notch number 4 right here. So let me try again, show you. So first you want to identify this. So you got a diamond here, right there, and you got a double notch there. You got a diamond here, and you got a double notch here. And so when I put this inside of here, I'm matching them. So here we go. Inside. And I'm looking for them, and I found them. As soon as you find them, pin them together. Grab my pins. So there's my single diamond. This one goes inside. And then my double notch. There they are. Pin those together. Alright, so now that I have them matched, get them together. No, it's hard to see on the video, but as you play with it, you should understand it. So basically I'm putting them together. one leg inside the other leg. They're the exact same. Okay. Hopefully that made sense to you. So there you go. So again, my double notches were matched. My single over here is matched. And then you'll see it all falls in place together. Okay? So as I do that, I'll just straighten this up a little bit. Again, I know it's difficult because the flannel is kind of sticky, but you see how I got it matched? So you can see what I'm working with right here. Da-da-da. That all nice and flat, my arms inside. Try to get this all matched together. Laying flat. And I'm smoothing it all out. That's what my hand's doing under there. Yeah. All right, so the legs are inside each other and it's right sides together. All right. So once you do that, then watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this, I'm going to change my orientation. Watch what I do. I turn it like that. So I have a U. So it was like this. And then I just flipped it, I put my hands inside, flipped it, laid it flat like this. So this is the seam you sewed, and this is the seam you already sewed. So lay it like so. And there are my notches that I pinned. I pinned one there, I pinned one here. And now I'm going to pin the rest of the U. So just the two pieces together. I'm pinning these two pieces together. Change my orientation of my pin there. Because guess what I'm going to do? You're right. I'm going to pin where I'm going to sew where I pin. Now when you come to this seam, remember we like to sew our seams open. So open your seam. Open your seam. See how I flatten them? Pin that open, like so. Coming around, coming around, coming around. Flip it this way. This is exactly how I'm going to sew it. Ta-da! So, we got the U. Oh, actually, yeah. So I'm going to go inside my machine. I actually did my pins backwards, didn't I? So, sorry. So I'm going to go this way, 5/8. I'm going to sew all the way around. Let me change that. It doesn't matter. It's just easier to take them out as you're sewing them if they're in the correct direction. That's all. Because as you're sewing, you may get panicked. But I promise you, if you just follow your pins, you'll be good. So there, let me fix my direction of my pins, see how I'm going this way. So when I go on my machine, I'm going to put it in like this. I'll line this up with the 5/8 and watch my fingers. So I'm going to back stitch, da 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 la 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 la. Then keep going, because you're going to be like, ah, Miss Reader. Don't freak out, just keep going. Follow your pins, just keep following them all the way, and then you'll end here. So you'll have the whole U sewed. And then all the magic happens. All right, check back with you in a sec. Okay, so there it is. So I sewed 5/8 all the way around, just the U. All right, once that's done, this is what's going to astound you. So then you're going to turn it right sides out. And guess what you got? Yay, pair of shorts. So obviously there's your crotch seam. Here's my pocket. So therefore that's the back of the shorts. This is the front of the shorts. And you're going to say, wow, they're so big. But remember, we still have to put a waistband in, which is going to shrink this up because it's going to be elastic. And then we're also going to hem it, so they're going to be shorter. All right, so in preparation for that, waistband is next. So the top of the shorts is right here. This is the bottom of the shorts. So we're going to turn this back inside out. So I got them inside out. I'm on the back side here. Doesn't really matter, but you have 4 seams. You have your back seam, which is this one. You have a side seam and another side seam. And then you have a front seam. So with all of these seams, what you're going to do is you're going to open them up and you're going to sew these open. Therefore, I'm going to take a pin to hold them open. And exactly where I just pinned, I don't know if you can see those pins. Let me use yellow ones. Maybe you can see the yellow better. See the yellow? Shows up a little better. Yeah. So exactly where I just pinned. Let me get a big one. All right, so exactly where I just pinned is where you're going to sew. And how far down is important. You want to sew down 3 inches. So from the top to 3 inches. So what I like to do is I like to put a pin at the 3-inch mark, or you could draw it on with chalk or whatever, but I like a pin. So I'm going to go in the machine right in the middle of this flap. So just there's no seam allowance, just right in the middle. You start at the top. You don't have to backstitch. You're just going from here to here and take it out, from here to here. So the goal is to sew these flaps down, because once we're done with that, you're going to see we're going to fold this and our elastic is going to go through. If this isn't sewed down and it's standing up, the elastic won't be, it's going to bump into the flap, the seam. So we have to sew the seams down. So from here to here, from here to here, on all 4 seams. So do that here, and you'll move it like this. Measure down 3 inches, put a pin, right here. Make sure you don't sew these together, all right? So when it goes in your machine, it's just this piece alone. So down here, and you do that on all 4 seams. So before you start, pin them all so you don't forget one. Okay. So I have all my seams sewed down. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Okay. Next step is to take the top. So I'm still working at the top only. Remember, this is the top of shorts. This is the bottom. I haven't messed with any of this. It's all about this. So we're doing the waistband. So then I'm going to take the top and I'm going to fold it about 1/4 of an inch. So it's just a little bit. So 1/4 of an inch. I'll start here. Quarter of an inch, so you can see how much that is. So if you use the mat, on your mat, this square is an inch square, and each dot is 1/4 of an inch. So if you lay it right there, and you fold it down to about the first set of dots, you know that's 1/4 of an inch, or you can take a ruler and do it. So once you eyeball it, then you should know where you're at, and then you can pin it. Now, unfortunately, you're going to have to pin it and not iron it down necessarily, because the flannel usually doesn't stay down when it's ironed. You can give it a shot, but that's what you need to do. 1/4 of an inch, like that, all the way around. Now, just for the video's sake. Let's say I did the whole thing. So after I do the entire waistband, I'm going to put it in my machine like this, right? Just like this. I'm going to start, it doesn't matter where you start, and you're going to sew this down. So let's say I started right here. I'm going to sew it down, keep going all the way around. I'm going to come back and I'm going to overlap where I started, which is the same thing as back stitching. So 1/4 inch, sew it all the way around, and then I'll check back with you. Okay, still working with the waistband casing. We did 1/4 inch and sewed it all the way around. So all the way around. Next, we're going to fold it 1.5 inches down. Again, there's a couple ways you can do this. You can use the mat for your grid lines, or I find it easier just to use a roller. So 1.5 inches right here, and that you can mark. If your fabric is dark, you can use white chalk. If not, I have white fabric, so I'm just going to use a little pencil mark. So I'm going to go like right there, and I'm going to fold it on that line. So the 1.5 inches is the fold line. So let me show you again, but without that showing in the background. So right here, 1.5 inches, make a little mark. That's my mark right there. Where my finger is. Take the fabric, fold it on that mark down, and pin it. So remember, I'm just working with the front, one piece, not both pieces right now, because I'm going to go all the way around. So this fold should be 1.5 inches right there. If it's anything less than that, your elastic won't fit, because your elastic is 1 inch. So if you make it less than this, then your elastic won't fit. So 1.5 inches, and you're going to pin it all the way around. So I'm going to do that. What I like to do is I like to do it right at the seams. So I go 1.5. The mark is right there. I fold it. I pin it. I remeasure it. 1.5. 1.5. Okay. Go to my next seam. 1.5. It's right there. Fold it. Pin it. Measure it again. 1.5. And my fourth one. Down. 1.5 is right here. Hold it. Pin it. Measure it again. Oh, that's 1.25. See? Catch yourself. Yep, 1.5. So make sure, because I'm moving really fast right now. Okay, once you get the seams down, probably can just fill in the spots between, and they should match. So I kind of grab my two seams, make it equal, pin it, measure it. Just really important to continue to check to make sure it's even. So here's my two seams, pin, check, yes. Last one, two seams, yes. Okay, so there we go. So I got it all pinned around. It's 1.5 inches all the way around. If something looks off a little, this one looks off a little. That's a little bit more. Just make sure you go around and check them all. It'll save you a huge headache later. And how else you'll know is if you lay your shorts flat like this, looking at the bottom. Sure. See? Lay it down. Looks good. All right. So once you have that, now you're going to sew it. So I'm going to start with the back. See my pocket? So I'm on the back side of my shorts. Right here is going to be my opening because I need a spot to put your elastic. So let me get my yellow pins so you can really notice them. Put it down a little so you can really see. So here, here, right? So as you can see, I'm leaving a space right here. So when I go in my machine, this is what I'm going to do. I'm just taking this piece. Remember, don't get this stuck in there. Laying it in the machine like this. You can take off your accessory drawer on your machine. That may help. Okay, so I'm going to start with this one, and I'm going to start right here, right on that 1/4 inch seam that I sewed before. That's going to be my guideline. And I'm going to sew right on that exact same seam all the way around, and I'm going to stop right here. Okay, so get sewing. Right, I made the waistband casing. So you can see I left the hole in the back where the pocket is, right at that back seam, and then I sewed it all the way around. So now, take a piece of elastic, and I put this around my waist, measured around my waist, and I cut it, and then I put a pin on the end. Then I slide it in here, and what I do is I scooch it onto the pin and pull. Now when you do this, you want to make sure that this doesn't twist while you're doing it. That's super important. So as I squish it onto the pin, I squish, 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 pull, squish, 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 pull it. Now, see how easily this is going through? That's because, remember, I sewed down that 3 inches down so my flaps don't get in the way. If you can't get it through, you didn't sew your flaps down or didn't sew them correctly. So as I keep going around, also notice as I'm doing this, the elastic is shorter than the circumference of the casing, and that's on purpose. So be careful you don't lose your end as you're doing this, because you want to sew them together. All right, so here I'm coming around to the beginning. So be careful with that. Don't want to lose it. Pull this through. And I think I just twisted it, so I gotta be careful I don't twist it. Pull it, gather it up. And I'm going to take these 2 ends and I'm going to lay them on top of each other like this, and I'm going to sew that. So let me just short pin. So I'm going to pin that like so. Now you want to make sure that you have no twists in this, so kind of just feel around. Feeling pretty good here. Maybe not. Hold on. Oh, that's better. Okay. So I'm going to go in my machine, and I'm going to sew this back and forth a few times. So forward, backward, forward, a few times. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to squish it all the way back into the waistband so this disappears into the waistband. And then I'm going to sew the hole closed. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to do right now. Okay, so what I did was I closed my elastic, I let it get lost up in here, and I sewed that hole closed. So sewed this closed. In addition, what I did was I stitched down this way. So I stitched the elastic in place so that it doesn't twist when I wash them. This is very important because nothing is more frustrating than when you have a twisted waistband later. Because once it twists, it's like you can't get it untwisted. So that your elastic together, let it scooch back in here, sew this closed, and then sew down this way. I sewed it this way here, and I did it here as well. So now my waistband won't twist, and you can see it's evenly distributed. See how it's gathered equally amongst the whole entire pair of shorts. All right, so waistband's done. One last step is we have to deal with the hem on the bottom of the shorts. So it's basically the same thing you did up here. You're gonna fold 1/4 inch. So again, just a little bit, 1/4 inch, or you can use your ruler to estimate it. Right? You're gonna pin it all the way and sew that 1/4 inch. After you do the 1/4 inch, then, so pretend that's sewed, then you could fold it as short as you want them. I wouldn't suggest more than 1 inch because once you start getting them too short, then they start like gathering and it looks sloppy. But if you're someone who wants them like as long as possible, then do 1/4 inch and another 1/4 inch like that. That's the shortest hem that you can get on these shorts. Or you could do 1/4 inch and about 1 inch also. Now, you have to do both though. If you only do 1/4 inch, let's say that you sewed it like this and you only did 1/4 inch. What's gonna happen is, I'll try to get it close to the camera, you can see already. You see the threads coming off? And that's annoying because it tickles your legs, and when you wash it, it'll start fraying and it's just a mess. So you have to fold it twice. So you have to do 1/4 inch and then one more time as high as you want between 1/4 inch and 1 inch. So I will do that and then show you what it looks like when it's completed. Okay, so just trying to remember to cut off your extra threads. All right, so I did the 1/4 inch, and now I want to do it just 1 inch. So I like working with my seams first. So this is my crotch seam right here. So I'm just going to fold it 1 inch. Again, that's the maximum I suggest for it to be neat. So 1 inch there. And then I come around here to my side seam. And I open my seams so they lay flat. And I'm doing 1 inch there also. All right, so I got that. And then when you grab those two seams that are 1 inch, you'll see it should just lay perfectly flat. And then put in a couple pins in there just to make sure. Flip over. All right, now I need to double check though, because that looks a little bigger, and it is. See? So, gotta make sure. Scoochy it. There we go. It's always worth the extra measure. That's 1 1/4. Better. Okay, so there we go. So that's what I want to do on each leg. I already did it on this leg. So then I'm going to take it to the machine. And it's always also worth it to fold it and make sure this way that they match as well. But if you measure them, they should be fine. Okay, so I'm going to just go in the machine and sew that. And that's my last step. Okay, so I sewed them. So I also made sure that I sewed on that same line as my guideline so the hem looks really neat. So last flip to see my completed shorts. And there they are. They're awesome. So the pocket is right here. And you can see there's a good distance if you did it correctly. The top of the pocket should be about 3 inches space right here, so it fits perfect in its placement. So you'll be graded on that, the pocket placement. The other thing is the seams, and and it's kind of hard to see in the video, but you should see a cross right here. So these seams match, and then these seams match, and that's how you know that you assembled the pieces perfectly together. And then the other thing is I want you to take a note on my fabric. So because I cut it out properly, you can see my lines are symmetrical. So if you're using directional fabric, that's super important. And there you go. And there's the waistband. So it's perfectly sized for me. And yeah, congratulations. Looks great.